welcome to this edition of On the Rise for Live Inspired Magazine. We're here interviewing Kass swimwear owner. His name is Keiann Corlise. Came all the way down from New York to speak with us today. So we're just going to be talking about how she started her business, what it means to have the entrepreneurial spirit, and we're going to go into her future plans for Kass swimwear. So without any further delay, Keiann, how are you? So why don't you,
I am great.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
All right. I'm originally from the Virgin Islands. I live in New York. I'm 25 years old, and I design swimwear.
So we're going to jump right into it. Why swimwear? Most people, they do clothing lines or sneakers or even sunglasses nowadays. So why swimwear?
Me personally, I like making it fun, and throughout the years I found it very hard to find swimwear for my body type, especially because I am small, but I'm a bit top heavy, and there's not a lot of swimwear to cover every frame for women. So I want beautiful swimwear that makes you feel sexy and confident at all times for every body and every woman.
So the brand Kass, that's an interesting name. So you want to tell us a little bit about where that came from and what it means?
Well, I had a list of names all beginning with K, and Kass, in Hebrew it means blackbird, and then the original meaning is she who entangles men. And I just found that funny because, you know, when you see a lady in swimwear, you know, it's supposed to be sexy, it's supposed to be capturing, so I went with that.
So at what point, I mean, nobody just goes straight into going into their own business, so at what point did you decide, I'm not, the 9-to-5 thing that isn't necessarily for me, and I'm gonna, you know, go into business for myself?
After Sally Mae. After all that time in school and the money and the hard work, it's like, why would I go and put my energy into somebody else's when I am skilled in every department? I can draft patterns, I can drape swimwear, I can cut patterns, I can do textiles, I can sew. So why would I pay someone else when I can make my own ideas and visions come alive? And I've always been surrounded by that hustler spirit. My mom, my dad, I've never seen them without 2 jobs, ever. So it just went well.
So you decided to put on a Superman cape.
Yeah.
And do it all.
And you know what? It doesn't even feel like work because I absolutely love it.
Okay, well, that's fair. So swimwear is an interesting niche, I feel like. How did you find out that that was the lane that you were going to take?
Well, you know, they say you got to fail a few times to realize what you're capable of. So when I was in my senior portfolio class and I couldn't produce a fall and winter collection, I went to my professor and I was like, you know, let's try. Is there any way that I can do all summer? And she gave me the option to do summer 1, summer 2, spring, and resort. So I got into resort wear. It's kaftas, linens, cover-ups, stuff like that. And from then, I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
In terms of color schemes, patterns, things like that, what inspires, you know, design you use?
Universal culture. Every culture has something as far as color, silhouettes. So I like to use that. I love to travel and I like to take pictures. People's art, you know, art from different parts of the world vary. I like pottery, stuff like that. I like to incorporate into my designs and pull colors and contrast and compliments from stuff that I just find randomly.
Has there been any type of, I guess, this one particular design or more than one that was a little bit more popular than the others, or one that you liked the most?
My very first, no, it's my very second design. I call it Goddess. It gathers up top. It reminds me of Greek gods because the bottom bikini has gold chains. So it's gold and peach and it's very rich. That's my favorite. And that's been most popular.
So Kass is more than just a line into lifestyle, so to speak. So how have you been able to establish, the following that you have, so early on? You've only done, you've done a few pieces, and this will be your first, full line coming out in the spring. So up to this point, how have you established so much of, brand loyalty?
Me being the brand itself, because I've gotten a lot of compliments and I love the way you carry your brand and you portray your brand. Well, I think it's only gotten that way because I feel like I am my brand. I am that Kass girl. I'm daring, I'm exotic, I love to capture moments and explore. So that's the lifestyle. That's how I like to live. So that's how I feel like it's catching mostly.
So I want to talk about the startup process. A lot of people have this funny idea that you just start a business and
it's like magic.
It's just there and people love it and you sell it and you get your money. But contrary to popular belief, there's business plans and all kinds of different things you have to do. So, what was your startup process like?
We're still mid-startup process due to the fact that I've brought someone on to handle that business aspect. Jennifer Keiann, she handles all the business parts. So it's very complicated. I'm the designer, she has to work on contracts, we have to work on our social media, we have to build a following, I have to portray my brand in person and online. We have to connect with people everywhere. Aside from the designing, then you have to connect with people to print your patterns, you have to connect with the draping and the sewing, and you have to produce your samples, then you have to take your samples and you have to pass it to someone else to make the final product. So it's a lot just to start it up. The selling part is like a walk in the park. Then you got to build your website, your online store. It's a lot.
So interestingly enough, we live in New York, one of the fashion meccas of the world. So how has that influenced, your brand and your work ethic, where you go about handling Kass?
New York is so crowded that it forces you to engage with people, and I feel like that has opened a lot of doors because that's where I met all my business partners. That's how I built my team. So having that much talent in one area is the best.
And on the contrast, you're originally from the Virgin Islands. So how have those two cultures, they're like polar opposites.
Completely different.
So how have they kind of merged in a way to fully encompass what's going on?
I don't even know. I think it's just the attitude. Because it's two different worlds, completely different. When I'm at home and when I'm in New York, I'm like two different people. So it's just the attitude, You want to keep that peace inside of you, but you want to move fast like a New York hustler.
So in a little bit of reflection up to this point, how do you personally, feel about your growth as an entrepreneur? Up till now, and how do you feel about the growth of Kass up to this point?
I'm completely satisfied. I've only been building this for a year and a half, and that's like nothing. A startup, you gotta wait 5 years to see anything, but the fact that people are grasping just the idea and the lifestyle before I even really launch, that's like a blessing.